when we live and come into contact with the bacteria and the viruses, which we're doing every single second of the day, it's more a case of how we can remain healthy. So if we can't avoid the outside world, what about protection? What about protection from these terrible bugs and viruses out there? There's antibacterial hand washes, there's antiviral medicines, antipyretic products to reduce fever, and dozens of vaccines are in the arsenal of the Public Health Department. So you can hear very, very anti words here. And the problem arises because money for research is about £200,000 to start a study, and that's the minimum. So it's very, very hard to find anyone with that sort of money. So mostly it's the drug companies that have this money to do the research. So we're going to start going through. Welcome if you've just arrived. Hello. That's not a problem at all. I'm Anna. Hello. So we're going to start going through the 10 areas of health with a few props, because I don't have a PowerPoint presentation yet, and just to sort of break it up a little bit for you. Now I've taken 10 headings from the Mother magazine. Veronica started a lovely magazine called The Mother, and a few months ago she just put the 10 just titles of how you might boost your immunity in your family. There was no detail, there was no science behind it. It was just 10 nice ideas. So I've taken those lovely ideas and I've just developed them a little bit further. I'll just say at the end, we'll have questions at the end. Okay. So number one because it is the most important. It's reducing stress, and it's striving to create harmony in your home, because stress is definitely up there as the number one immune suppressant. There's plenty of evidence that you'll find on the net for this, that stress lowers the immunity because of the cortisol. What happens when you get stressed is your adrenaline goes up for 5 or 6 minutes, which is fine, that's okay, and then after about 6 minutes it turns to cortisol, which then stays in your system a long time and is quite damaging to the immune system. Obviously stress raises your blood pressure, damages your arteries, and often leaves you with a lack of sleep because of worry and stress, so all damaging things to the immune system. Conversely, if you're trying to create harmony, there's loads of lovely things that you can do. Anything related to emotional responses to the arts and touch, these are all supporting the immune system. The arts even, they're capable of stimulating your dopamine producing neurons. Anything to do with touch and close relationships with humans or animals will reduce your heart rate and speed recovery from illness and surgery. And nurses used to do much more sitting at the bedside and touch, and that has been taken away, which is a shame, because really the physical touch, and obviously you do it when your children are unwell, your little children, and maybe we need to do it more to our partners or our mothers or our dads when they're unwell. And really there is something to do with touch. And we know that those with pets, they've been shown to have a much lower blood pressure. I think it's because of the stroking, and that's why I bought my pet. So that's my first prop. Somebody thought it was to do with the Stone Age. I could have done something with the Stone Age, couldn't I? That would have been good. So yeah, so anything that you can stroke, it's that action that just lowers your blood pressure. I think it just slows you down and slows your thinking down. So number 2, ensuring fresh air, sunlight and earth. So we haven't got any sun at the moment, just a lovely picture of a glowing sun. And earth. So I did dig up a little bit of earth for you. And you'll think, what's earth got anything to do with the immune system? So these things that are around us in nature, they do have, they have a reason behind them. So oxygen and the ultraviolet light in the air and the sun, they're absolutely critical. Oxygen enriches the blood and the cellular activity, and the ultraviolet light damages the DNA of the microorganisms, the bacteria and the viruses, etc. So if you are unwell, and if you can go and sit outside, or if you can be outside with your children, the oxygen in the air and the ultraviolet light will go towards that. You can wrap up warm, you can read stories, but don't feel that you have to be in the house all the time when you're unwell. There are occasions when you do need to, obviously, when you've got a very, very high fever, or if you're going through measles, if there's a draft, that's obviously not a good thing. And go with how you feel and go with how the child feels, but don't rule out going outside for very good reasons. The Environmental Protection Agency, they estimate that the air quality in your house is 3 to 5 times more toxic than the air outside your house. And in some places, it's 50 times more toxic. So how can we reduce that toxicity in our own home? Even if you live on the main road, chances are your home is still more toxic. because just in your cleaners, they'll be made up of 150 different chemicals just for your cleaners, and then you've got another gamut of hundreds and thousands in your paints, furniture, furnishings and carpets. Formaldehyde, for example, is used a lot in pressed woods and anything to stop mould growing. Formaldehyde may cause cancer, say the HPA, and it's also used in childhood vaccines to kill unwanted viruses and bacteria. Reducing these household chemicals obviously is a real big aim. There's loads of really good studies that show that certain household chemicals are directly responsible for certain cancers, allergies, psychological disorders and birth defects. So really, good thing to look at. Now I've got a plant here, and I know lots of you know why I've got a little plant. Would anyone like to say why have I got a lovely spider plant? I'm looking at you, Annie. Have you got one of these? Anybody else? Sorry? Yes, there's certain plants that really seem to absorb the negative things that the computer gives off. Obviously, I'm a layperson, so I'm saying negative things, but there is a word for it, and I'll have to find out. But there's also, each plant absorbs a certain chemical in the air. So the spider plant is one of the best, and just with one day with a spider plant, it reduces certain allergens in the air by 90-something%. And I love this study because it's done by NASA. So we have to believe NASA, don't we? I'm just going to believe them anyway. And they had to work out how to clean up the air, obviously, in their rockets. And they found that the plants were the most effective of doing that. And if you Google NASA plants clean your air, then you get a lovely table of what plant reduces what chemical. Spider plants are fantastic. There's also a dragon tree plant. It's got a stem and then it comes up like in a fork. And that's really good for your computer. And I remember that the weeping fig is really good by a front door because it sort of absorbs the heavy metals from the road, so as you're coming in and out. So yes, turn your home into a bit of a jungle. Now we do want to limit extreme exposure of the UV sunlight. As we heard, it does break down the DNA, but that's really extreme cases. And the Lancet had a fantastic study last year where they suggested that if you're using a factor 15, over factor 15 on your skin, you're reducing the amount of vitamin D that your body's able to make through the sunlight. So your body makes this, it's a vitamin, it's more like a hormone really, and it needs the sun to do that, and through your eyes as well, so don't always wear sunglasses. And if you're always putting on, especially on children, we're very fearful of our children's skin burning, and if you're always using more than factor 15, it will reduce the amount of vitamin D that your body is able to make. And they said the reason why that's so important is that 1/3 of cancers, they indicate a very low level of vitamin D. So they think that low vitamin D, it's sort of like the last couple of years, a really big drive to readdress that balance. And they say that just don't use anything over factor 15 at all, because you might be reducing the small chance of skin cancer, but what you're also doing is increasing your risk of other cancers. So spending as much time out of doors with these things, and obviously, and also with the soil. Now there's many ways that the soil is linked to the gut as well. I mean, I think the first thing is that when the baby is born through the birth canal, possibly, that the baby it's the first time that they would have come into contact with bacteria and allergens, because it would be near to the mother's, back passage, if I'm allowed to say that on television. And it's all to do with things that are in the soil as well. We're eating vegetables, and if they haven't been sprayed, if they're organic, then just eat the fruit and vegetables. Don't feel that you have to really be fastidious about washing all the mud off, because there's something in the soil that strengthens our gut. And I would suggest that the reason why toddlers always put things in their mouth is not just because of sensory. So scientists are suggesting that it's sensory, that they like to pick things up and put them in their mouth. But I think it might also be to do with that they're building up their immune system, starting with what's around them. So things around them in their home, and then you go outside, and it's slowly building up their gut. And your gut is like your furnace. 80% of the immune system, most holistic people would say, is your immune system. So if an allergen bypasses your mucous membranes up your nose or your tonsils or gets in through your skin, if anything that bypasses those first lines of defence ends up in the stomach, and you want a really, really strong stomach. So things like, coming into contact with the soil, letting your children play in the mud. They say that people living on farms and having